Peace be upon you, my dear brothers and sisters. Today I will tell you a very beautiful story in which there is a lesson and wisdom. Our story today is titled, The Wisdom of an Old Man. The wisdom of an old man, the story says. There was an old man who kept traveling around India until he reached a small village. The man needed food and drink. So he approached one of the huts and then knocked on the door. The owner of the house opened the door, and the old man said to him, "I have been traveling for many days. So can you give me some water and food?" The owner of the hut looked at the old man in his tattered clothes and said, "I have nothing to do with it. I am glad you are on your way." The old man knocked on the door of the next hut and asked for water and food, but again the owner of the hut answered the door in his face. After that, the old man knocked on the door of the third hut. A woman opened the door and the old man saw her children playing inside. The man asked the woman to give him some food and drink. But she replied to him saying, "How can I feed you when I can hardly feed my children?" Said the old man, "I have a magic stone in my pocket. If you fill a pot with water and put the stone in it, we will make soup." The woman and the man entered the backyard of the hut and put the pot on top of the fire. Then the old man put his hand in his pocket and took out the stone and put it in the pot. The man took the wooden spoon and tasted the soup. He looked at the woman and said to her, "The soup tastes good, but it needs something else. Do you have carrots?" The woman had a few carrots, so she went and brought them and added them to the soup. The man started tasting the soup again, but he didn't like it. And he said, "Do you have potatoes?" She said no. At that time, some of the villagers had heard the old man's story and gathered to know what was happening. Then one of the women said, "I have potatoes." And she went and brought some grains from her hut and added them to the pot. The old man tasted the soup again but was not satisfied with it and said he needed some onions. Then one of them volunteered and brought onions. It went on like this for some time. And every time the people of the village added something new to the soup. Finally the old man tasted it and smiled and said, "It turned out great." The man dipped the wooden spoon and gave it to the woman who helped him first. The woman tasted the soup and said, "It is really good." Then she passed the spoon to those gathered around her. And everyone began to enjoy the soup that everyone participated in making. What did you gain from the story? Did it affect you after reading it? This story, full of wisdom, was narrated by the writer, Robin Speckland, in one of his books, and it refers to a very important lesson, which is everyone's cooperation to implement a successful work, as everyone can add a simple that results in the end a wonderful achievement. On this day, the villagers learned a very important lesson. They learned that although each of them individually struggled to provide food and drink for his children, when they united their efforts and resources, each important one benefited.